So as there is the aging, there will be the spectrum of changes in the macula, in the retinal pigment epithelium, in the choriocapillaries, and the Brooks membrane. So today's topic, you will be familiar with the Brooks membrane. Till now, you did not know, or we did not mention about the Brooks membrane. So it is a membrane behind the RPE in the choriocapillaries. So where the pathology occurs over here in case of the age-related macular degeneration. So when you see these pictures of the retina over here, in this ultrasonic diagram, this is the phobia. So where it is the central of fixation. So it's not at the optic disc, it's slightly away, and this is the retina. So here you can see the basement membrane of the retina, and this is a Brooks membrane, and this is a choriocapillaries or the blood vessels over here. So this is the normal structures of the retina. So over here, if you see the more ultra structured pictures, this is the RP where you can see over here in the basal lamina of the RPE. Here you will see the deposition, somewhere the thickening of this basement membrane. So these depositions which accumulates and they forms, they are called the drusen. So this is the new term, and this is a most important term in case of age-related macular degeneration. So when you see this picture, it will be more clear to you. So this is a retinal pigment epithelium where you can see the projection cilia over here in one side, and this is a basement membrane of the retinal pigment epithelium. And here you can see the this one cells and the photoreceptors. So in this, there is a basal laminar over here. There is a depositions over here in the basement membrane of the RPE. So this is a Brooks membrane. So even though it is a very ultra structure, it is very thin. There are 5 layers in the case of this Brooks membrane also. So we need not to discuss about them. Just this is a, you remember, behind this is a Brooks membrane, and over here is a choriocapillaries. Most of the time we will include this all as a choriocapillaries, but this basement membrane itself, which is given the another term called the Brooks membrane, and the depositions occurs over here due to the problem in the retinal pigment epithelium. The pathophysiology explains that the major change occurs in the retinal pigment epithelium. As we have discussed in the earlier classes, that there are many functions of the retinal pigment epithelium, and one of them is it provides nutrition, it absorbs light, and it also phagocytes the unnecessary waste products. So when there is a problem in this retinal pigment epithelium, if it is unable to phagocyte, then the depositions occurs over here. Besides that, there are some other changes in the basement membrane also. So is it clear? Because the photoreceptors, with the aging, there is a lot of changes occurs over here. Even these photoreceptors, the number, densities of these cells are reduced in their distributions, and other progressive evolutionary changes can occur even in the choriocapillaries also. So all these summarize, all these add to the deposition in the basement membrane. So when you see this photograph, or which we see the fundus picture in the normal eye, you will see thus the optic disc, which we look like this when we do the indirect ophthalmoscopy, or direct ophthalmoscopy, the disc, central pale part is the cup, arising the vessels from the cup, and this is the optic nerve head also, and beside this about 2 discs diameter from the disc. It is the disc is 1.5 millimeter, we already know, and this is a 5.5 millimeter. The macula is 5.5 millimeter, and at the center there is the fovea. So this is a normal where there is no change of any pathology over here. And in case of the AMD, here you can see the optic nerve. So optic nerve is not related of, there is no change in the optic nerve bed except in case of the exudative type of the AMD where there can be change with some other pathology. But the disc over here, you can see the COP disc ratio is increased, but this is not due to the AMD. The pictures has coincides with some other conditions, but the pathology occurs over here in the central area. In the macula here you can see there is a hypopigmented, or there is a and over here you can see the all the yellowish patches. So this is a drusen. So, AMD is a leading cause of blindness in the worldwide. So, common is in Caucasian populations, and it is a bilateral disease. So, 60 to 65% of the bilateral within 5 years of the vision loss in first eye. So, early sign is rarely visible before 45 years of age. It is a disease after the 50 years of age, most of the cases, and it is 5% of the people will have the disease till 70 years of the age, and which progress to 20 to 25% of the disease after the age of the 70. So there is a there is a age barrier or a age limit also for the AMD, but it's not like that. It will not present at the age of 50. So we have discussed this earlier. The macula is of 5 millimeter or 5.5 millimeter in the diameter. Grossly, you can remember the 5 millimeter, and 4 millimeter temporal. That is, it is 3 millimeter temporal. This is 2 disc diameter is 3 millimeter and 0.8 inferior to the optic disc. So fovea, it is a depression of 1 disc diameter at the center of macula. Fovea is the central point of the fovea. It is 0.35 millimeter in diameter. It is thinnest part of the retina, and over here there is the presence of cones only, and it is the high level of visual acuity. So to maintain this high level of visual acuity, these are all the above points are all the peculiarities of fovea. Because if it would have been thick, the light rays would not have been focused exactly at that point, or it would have been scattered, or some problem would have been there. If there is only the only the rods, because rods has the peculiar character of having its own line, the connection, that it is one rod is connected with another rod, whereas the cones, whereas the rods, the 3-4 rods or 2 rods can be connected with its electrical vibration. So that is why the cones have got the peculiar characteristic for the visual acuity, whereas though the resolutions may be good for the rods, but the acuity is proper or accurate for the cones. That is why, that is the reason the presence of the cones is more or only in case of the fovea. And the thinnest part of the retina, because all the 10 layers are not present in fovea. There are only 6 layers, whereas other 4 layers are absent in case of the fovea. So I think it will make you clear the importance of this fovea. Macular degenerations, often the age-related macular degenerations, AMD or ARMD. Previously we used to say ARMD, but nowadays in books we will get AMD. It is the same thing. It's the medical conditions that usually affects older adults and result in a loss of vision. That is the central vision, central of the visual field, the macula, because of the damage to the retina. So it is a simple definition. The central vision is lost over here. So see how you will see the picture when the central vision is lost. It occurs above the age of 50 years, so 5% are affected, and after the age of 70, almost 25% of are affected. And it's a bilateral disease. So progressive thickening of the Brooks membrane with the age interfere with the RP photoreceptor metabolism. Metabolites from the photoreceptor accumulates on the Brooks membrane. So these are all the different illustrated pathophysiology for the explanations of the disease. So there is itself the Brooks membrane itself, there will be the thickening of Brooks membrane, and the photoreceptors which function is disturbed, and metabolites from the photoreceptor accumulates on the Brooks membrane. The clinical and histopathological features of age-related macular degenerations includes a relationship with age and the presence of pigmentary disturbance, drusen, thickening of Brooks membrane, and basal lamellar deposits. So you can see all the changes over here, like the pigmentary changes can be there, drusen formation occurs, thickening of the Brooks membrane, and basal lamellar deposits. So AMD is an advanced stage of the deteriorative process that takes place in all the eyes, and the primary lesion in AMD appears to reside in the retinal pigment epithelium, possibly resulting from its high rate of molecular degradation. So beginning early in the life and continuing throughout the lifespan, cells of the RP gradually accumulate sacks of molecular debris. So these residual bodies, lipofuscins, are remnant of the incomplete degradations of abnormal molecules which have been damaged within the RP cells or derived from phagocytes, rods, and cone membrane. So how these bodies are formed? This is not the one-day process. It is a continuous process where there is a accumulations of these degraded abnormal molecules, and progressive engrossment of the RP cells with this function loss residue is associated with the extrusions of aberrant material which accumulates in the Brooks membrane and aggregates in the form of drusen and basal lamellar deposits. So these are all these functionless things or which materials which accumulates and they forms a drusen. These excretions continue to the further deteriorations of the RPE, and loss of vision results from the death of the visual cells due to the degenerations of RP cells or the effects of leakage from the neovascular membrane that invade the region of abnormal extracellular deposits. So gradually with the progression of the disease from the dry or the non-exudative type of the AMD to the wet, that is the exudative type of the AMD. So disease progress from the drusen to the new vessels formation. So drusen is only the earliest clinical sign. So what is it? Is a lipid or collagen rich deposits which lies between the Brooks membrane and the RPE, and further disruptions of the RPE and the photoreceptor metabolism which causes a variable amount of depigmentation and eventually atrophy of the overlying RPE. So first of all, you will see only the drusen, that is a yellowish patch. When you will see it looks like the yellowish patch in the retina. But gradually, when this is further improved or further increase of the disease condition, you will see some discolorations or depigmented patch. It can be the hypopigmented patch or there can be the hyperpigmented patch in the retina. And when this patch, hyperpigmented patch gradually becomes larger in size, they coalesce and they forms the atrophy of the overlying retina. So now I think you are familiar with this picture, because photoreceptors, RP and basement membrane, where there is a deposition, so these are the drusens, and over here is the choriocapillaries. So this figure must be put in mind. So you will see there are different types of drusen also. So for you it's not required, but you can see over here this is a hard type of drusen which we frequently see, and it is in this manner. This is a hypopigmented area. So this is a soft type of drusen which looks like a soft exudate, and this is a hard type of drusen. And these are the confluent drusen, when all the drusen they collapse and they forms a confluent type of the drusen. And these are the calcified drusen. So these are the different types of the drusen. Clinically, we have got two types of this AMD. Non-exudative AMD, which is a dry type of AMD, and it can be mild to moderate. There will be the gradual loss of vision with central shadowing. And exudative is a rapidly progressive marked loss of vision will be there, and which is characterized by the new vessels formation also. So in case of dry type of AMD, most of the 90% of the population or the people will have the dry type of the AMD. See, from the beginning of the chapter or beginning of the AMD, everything is a natural or the physiological changes like occurs. It occurs the pathophysiology along with this clinical variant. Where there is a marked loss of vision is the exudative type. It's only 10%. Whereas dry type, where there is mild to moderate loss of vision, is 90%. So always remember non-exudative, which is dry type, and exudative, which is wet type of AMD. So what type of features you will see in dry and wet AMD? In the dry, you will see drusen, and when this drusen, along with the drusen, you will see the hypopigmented and hyperpigmented area, and when they become large and coalesce, they form a geographical atrophy, because it looks some characteristic pictures of the map. So it's the name is given geographic, and non-geographic is when the picture is larger, atrophy is there, but it doesn't looks like map formations also. It's non-geographic. Focal area of the hyperpigmented area can be seen. So nothing difficult for this to describe. And wet AMD, it is characterized by the choroidal neovascularization. It is very important. And there will be, beside that, there will be the posterior epithelial detachment, and later stage of the disease, you will have a dixiform scar. So when this comes, then there will be the marked loss of visions, and the visions cannot be again brought back. Whereas over there, you can just stop the progressions of the disease. So when you will see in the FFA or the fluorescent angiography, the picture it looks of the drusen, it looks like this. All the hyperlucent area. And what are the risk factors? This is a very important thing which we have to explain to the patient or counsel the patient. It is very important. The hereditary, so which we cannot change or which we cannot explain to the patients regarding it. But nutrition, the food habit is very important over here. So lots of vitamin E and A have a role in this cycle, and even we give substituents of this micronutrients in the treatment of the dry AMD. Smoking, so as there is a smoking, the progressions of the disease is 40 times faster than non-smoker. Hypertension, Exposure to the sunlight is also one of the high risk factors. Hyperopia, blue eyes, and cataract. So these all are the risk factors for the progressions of the disease. Among these, smoking and exposure to the sunlight are more risk factors, more higher risk factors for the progression of the disease. Non-exudative AMD is dry or geographic type, which accounts for 90% of the age-related macular degenerations, where the atrophy of the retinal pigment epithelial layer occurs. So we will see just one bigger type of the patch or small patch in the area, and vision loss through the loss of the photoreceptor rods and cone in the central part of the eye. So when these patches are exactly at the foveolar area or the fovea, then the patient will have the diminution of the vision. Or if these patches are slightly away, not exactly at the fovea, then they will have a good amount of the vision. Lesions on the ophthalmoscope is in the early, intermediate, and advanced stages. So in the early stage, you can see just the macular drusen, which is small to medium size, or you can see the focal hyperpigmented lesions, which even looks like a drusen, and the pale area of the RPE, so which is little bit paler, which is a atrophy. And intermediate is a drusen. They have got also different size and different types, so which we will not discuss, but the drusen size will be little bit larger, and there will be sharply circumscribed, the margin will be largely circumscribed, circular RPE atrophy will be there. And in advanced cases, there will be the enlarged atrophic area with the pre-existing drusen disappear and visible larger choroidal vessels. So you will see the choroidal vessels over here. So these are the different pictures where you can see the progressions of the disease from the one side to the another. And geographical atrophy, here you can see the smaller atrophic area, and here you can see the larger atrophic area. And hyperpigmented area, you can see over here, you can see the drusen and even the hyperpigmented area. An exudative type is a wet or neovascular type of the AMD, which accounts for 10%. And due to the abnormal blood vessels growth, choroidal neovascularizations in the choriocapillaries through the Brooks membrane, and ultimately leading to the blood and protein leak below the macula. So you will see the hemorrhage, you can see the new vessels, or you can see the exudates also in case of the exudative type of the ARMD. So there will be the irreversible damage to the photoreceptors, and there will be the rapid loss of the vision. So if left untreated, there will be the marked loss of the visions, which is irreversible damage, or due to the irreversible damage, there will be the irreversible vision loss. So in case of the wet AMD, the patient can have the pigment epithelial detachment, and there can be choroidal neovascularization. So these are the two characteristic features of the wet AMD. So pigment epithelial detachment is most of the thing which we will see with the fundus picture or OCT, which is circumscribed dome shape elevation, and sub-RPE fluid can be clear or turbid. This we can see with the subretinal epithelial fluid, can be seen with the indirect ophthalmoscopy also. So site of the choroidal neovascularization is the pinkish yellow subretinal lesions with the fluid. So here you can see in the macula, here you can see the pinkish yellow color. So always see the disc and the macula. So here the pinkish yellow color, and even the blood collection, subretinal blood or lipid can be collected like this. So these are the side leading to the AMD. So how we will see the disease or diagnose the disease? We will diagnose the disease by the clinical presentation, by doing the indirect ophthalmoscopy. So that is the best way of diagnosing the disease. but sometimes you need some help, like to see the Amsler grid. So Amsler grid is a type of the paper which is designed like the square box will be present like a net, like where you will see net in the windows and doors. So that net, the paper will be designed like this, and the patient will be asked to see the area within that paper. So in the center of the area, there will be dot, or whether that square is clear, or even the line are straight, or even the line are curved. So we will ask the patient that they can see that or not. So if the lines are crooked, or if there is a dot, then that means that the patient has got AMD. So it is Amsler grid, it's just a pattern picture where we will see the following things. And even in case of if we do not have the Amsler grid in our home, so we can ask the patient to see the doors and windows and to see the lines, whether they are straight or not, or whether you can see the dot at the center of that net or not, or even in the doors and windows. So you can see the progression of the disease from the dry to the wet AMD. So this is very important test which is done clinically, even in hospitals or in the home. At the time of the counseling to the patient, or we will teach this Amsler grid, and we will ask them to do at the home also from time to time. So if there is any change in the disease pattern which a patient or a patient party feels, then they will again directly bring the patient to the hospital. So this Amsler grid test is very important for the clinical evaluations of the disease. Snell's chart is a visual acuity chart, which we will see the visual acuity of the patient, and typical sign illustrated on the slit lamp biomicroscopy. So the thing pathognomic which we see the drusen is with the help of the slit lamp biomicroscopy, which we do not need any aid. We can see with the naked eyes. And fundus fluorescent angiography, which you will see the hyperlucent and the hyperlucent area in case of the drusen. And indocyanine angiography can also be done, and optical coherence tomography. So nowadays the optical coherence tomography is chosen method. So fluorescent angiogram, which is seen like this. So which you can see the hyperfluorescent area. So hyperfluorescent area from the window defect of the atrophic ARMB. So atrophic ARMB, you can see this hyperfluorescent. And indocyanine green angiogram on pigment epithelial detachment, if you will see, there will be the hypolucent. There will be the hypolucent area over here, hypofluorescent area over here, and later there will be thin surrounding of the hyperlucent ring. And here you can see no increase in the size of the lesion. So this is with the indocyanine angiography, indocyanine green angiography. So see, these are the different, this is by entering a dye, which you can see the hypofluorescent area over here. In the earlier picture, so in the earlier picture, you can see this is a hyperfluorescent area, and this is a hypo. So how you will manage a case of AMD? So non-exudative type is no effective treatment is required, except we counsel the patient very nicely, explain about the disease to the patient, and monitor the progressions of the disease to the patient and the patient guardian. So dietary supplement and antioxidant is very important over here. We will ask to modulate the risk factors. So smoking, sedation of the smoking, advise the Amsler grid regularly, and what is the condition or what is the exact visual acuity of the patient. Then we will ask for the low vision aid. So there are different low vision aids for like along with the lenses, hand lenses to the sticks and other different type of the glasses where you can see in this picture also. So these are the different counseling or explanations to the patient. And coming to the exudative type of the AMD, it's very difficult to treat, and different modalities of the treatment are there depending upon the conditions. And for the treatment purpose, the FFA is also, fluorescent angiography is also required, because if it is at the phobia, we cannot give some therapy and some things, so changes accordingly. So till now we give the intravitreal anti-VEGF therapy like bevacizumab, ranibizumab, pegaptin, and among these also bevacizumab is mostly used because these drugs are very costly. And photodynamic therapy is a very important therapy, and it is given in case of the more parafoveal area type of the AMD, wet exudative type of AMD, because these will act only on these affected cells. So it is also being used. And transpupillary thermotherapy, double frequency ACT 532 nm photocoagulation, and surgical treatment. So surgical treatment, we go for the last options, but it is a type of the macular transplant, so which is just under the trial, but we go for mostly the intravitreal anti-VEGF therapy most of the time. And if there is a hemorrhage, and if there is a vitreous hemorrhage, if there is a cataract, then we treat those risk factors also first. Cataract, we do the cataract extractions. So there are different modalities of the cataract surgery also. So by this time you must know that is small incision cataract surgery and phacoemulsification. So we go for the phacoemulsification, and we advise the patient for modulate all the risk factors, treating the hypertension and blood pressures, and we go for this other treatment of this exudative type. So what is the summary? Age-related thickening of Bruch's membrane. So now I think all of you know where is the Bruch's membrane. So at the end of the section, don't think that because previously I have put 3 diagram slides just to make you understand where is the Bruch's membrane. Otherwise you will not know the any chapter, understand the chapter. Interfere with the photoreceptors and RPE metabolism, causing depositions of metabolites and formation of drusen, and damage to the overlying RPE, photoreceptors, and underlying choriocapillaries. So these are the pathophysiology, and the progressions of the disease occurs due to these conditions. So as there is no damage to the, if there was not damage to the choriocapillaries, then there would not have been the new vessels formation, or there would not have been the hemorrhage. So these are the changes occurs all over here, and resulting along with the involutionary changes, the pathological changes also occurs here with the progressions of the disease. So you will have the this different features. So I think all of you understood age-related macular degeneration. So I think I have to, tomorrow also I have your class, and I will discuss something hypertensive retinopathy, and if possible CRVO, because I have so many topics of the retina, and CRVO and hypertensive retinopathy, and retinal detachment is also one of the ocular emergencies, so I have to cover that chapter also. So let's see, tomorrow I will discuss either retinal detachment or hypertensive retinopathy. So you just go through the slides of yesterday's diabetic retinopathy, which is very important, and AMD, which is also important, which comes to you in your slides. Okay, any questions you can ask?